Well, hey now, everybody. It's the Rob from 106.1 KISS FM here with my tag team partner in podcasting, who you might not be able to hear over our theme music. Good morning, Jer.
Hey, can you hear me?
Well, you know
Hi!
what? That's a legitimate good question. Hey, okay, so here I've got really good news, I feel like. So I feel like I think I found a Band-Aid, even though it's going to be a lot harder for me to produce the show live. Sorry, I'm still getting my shot ready. I feel like I've got a way that I fixed the audio and video, even though my computer's not fixed.
Awesome. What's the Band-Aid?
Well, the Band-Aid it's okay. So I'm using, if you may have noticed, there's a third person in this chat now. That's
a good-looking guy right there.
Handsome fella right there. Look at him. Well, basically, he's here with his webcam unplugged and just giving us audio. And then I've got this computer here with the webcam on, but the audio muted. And then there's this guy right here who steals the show week after week from State College. So if I could, hopefully for the last time, if anyone is watching, we should have, I believe that we've got at least one person in there as we build an audience right now. Can you let me know how things are looking, sounding? I'm really hoping we're sounding good. I can see that we're okay. Just let me know how we're sounding, please, and I'll feel better about this.
And we'll feel okay. And I know it can be annoying. We're always asking, we start every podcast asking how we sound, but we don't want to get 40 minutes in like we did the one day. It was one of my favorite podcasts that we'd done. We kept wishing Jake the Snake happy birthday, and then it was unlistenable because the echo was just so bad.
Oh, we got 3 thumbs up from Steve.
Excellent. I wonder, hey Steve, one more question. How did you enjoy Raw last night? How was your experience? Rob, how did you enjoy Raw last night? How was your experience?
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started by saying I personally loved the show, and I also feel like it was a good show to be at. I'm curious as to if your take is the same as you weren't there live. Like, for example, to us in that building, Joe and Reigns was something really special. I don't know if I would have loved it as much if I was watching it on my couch, but being in that building, oh my God, they had every single one of us eating out of their hands.
Well, that's a question I wanted to ask you, because you couldn't hear it. Roman Reigns comes out to a chorus of boos. And the one thing I took umbrage with is they're like, and he's coming out to a thunderous ovation. That would indicate to me, ovation, that people were cheering him to the point where it's thunderous. And they were booing him. But Roman Reigns, when he comes out, and I saw him at a house show, is he larger than life? Like, is he really, like, he is kind of the guy, isn't he? Roman Reigns at this point. Like, on TV, he bores us and we're kind of, he's down our throat, but it felt important. It felt big. Starting a show with him, it felt big to me. And then Joe coming out, it also felt good, felt big to me. I was so excited for you. I started it late. And as I'm watching the pay-per-view, and the pay-per-view, it felt like a pay-per-view, as I'm watching the Raw, I just keep thinking, oh, God, Rob must have just been having the best time, because it was just cool moment after cool moment.
Yeah, I would describe Roman's ovation as thunderous personally. The reason I would describe it as such is, oh, hey, by the way, if someone could tell me, I'm having just a little confusion. Am I switching cameras? Because on one screen, it appears to be switching. On the other screen, and I want it to be switching. Like, basically, my question is, can you see Jerry? It's not just stuck on my face. And someone just confirm that for me, please. I would appreciate that.
You don't want to deny anybody this goodness right here.
No. Well, like I said, on the computer that's giving me the sound, it's stuck on my face. But on the laptop, which I believe is the lead, I'm flipping back and forth. So if someone could just let me know that, I'd appreciate that too. Steve, I'm still looking at you, bud. Thanks. By the way, Steve said he couldn't make it last night.
Bummer.
So it is switching. Good. He said he had a personal emergency. I hope everything's okay, Steve.
Yeah, we're hoping for the best. I'm sorry. And unfortunately, this podcast is going to really rub it in a bit, and I apologize, but that was a great Raw.
I thought so too, and I'm glad that we have the same take from that because obviously it was real special for us.
Even at the very beginning, I thought, with Reigns and Joe, and I was like, how are they going to book this and protect Joe as he goes into the Brock Lesnar thing? I thought they did a great job of that at the beginning.
Oh,
and then it went right into a Hardy Boys match, which I thought was awesome. And I was like, wow, they are really rolling into some good stuff right away for you.
Yeah. So, by the way, there was before they taped Raw, they taped 2 matches for main events. And there was one really good match with, I think it was Kalisto and Gran Metalik. They had a really good match on main event. So I enjoyed that quite a bit. And Raw gets off to a raucous start. I would describe the ovation as thunderous. The first time Roman came out, it was a chorus of boos, in my opinion. The second time Roman came out, it was very mixed. Again, my opinion. But once the match, let's I'll talk about the match right now. Once the match really hit the ground and they were starting to play with the finishes and it looked like it was going either way and they were taking us from one direction to another, Joe and Reigns had the crowd in the palm of their hands last night, myself included. I was on my feet the entire time. I'm high-fiving strangers when Joe wins. I mean, it was such a memorable experience for me. I loved being a part of the crowd for that match.
I got so fooled too. I had just gotten up and grabbed something from the refrigerator, and I sat down and I heard beeping, and I thought the refrigerator alarm went off. We have one of those fridges. If the door's not closed the whole way, it'll beep. And so I got up to check on it, and it turned out it was the ambulance backing into the arena.
Yeah, I was quite proud of myself too, because everyone was wondering, did you know immediately what that meant? Because I did.
When I saw the ambulance backing in, I was like, yes, here he comes. The only doubt I had was they did tell us it was going to be 6 months, and here comes Braun Strowman.
Yeah, I loved that. And then when he emerged, it was like a scene from a blockbuster movie. It was like a superhero coming out of that ambulance, and the crowd went nuts. And then right after that, Joe locks in the Coquina clutch, and it's over. And it was just so explosive, man.
And I love how Roman Reigns sold the Coca-Cola clutch so well, because he goes out and he sells it for the next 4 minutes. Helpless Roman Reigns laying in the ring, and here comes Strowman. Roar! And he comes walking down, and I was like, this is awesome. They put Joe over, they protected Reigns with the distraction, and they're putting Braun Strowman over. That's how you book 3 of your top stars. Yeah. I mean, they were really, that whole segment interspersed through the show, I thought that was great.
Yeah, no, I was a big fan of that. This is, by the way, not the first time a live event that I've gone to has easily match of the night with Roman Reigns. I want to acknowledge that, even though I'm not a huge fan of his. I was booing him loudly. He had the match of the night last night again. So kudos to him and Joe. Joe has taken such an incredible turn in my world. I used to be somewhat anti-Joe. Anti maybe not be the best word, but I just didn't get what everyone else loved about him. This is dating back to pretty much 2007 when I was watching him, if not earlier, in TNA wrestling. Just never really got him. Now he's like my favorite part of the show. I found myself loving him as I
love his theme music too.
When that music hits, I get jazzed. It's working for me. Joe has taken he's taken the biggest turn of guy I didn't like to guy I really like a lot. In the matter, all it took for him was to win that Fatal 5-Way.
You had that going on. You had, I thought the Miz and Dean Ambrose stuff working in Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel, I thought was great. The two Miz Bears. So
Brittany is a big fan of. Well, she's not a big fan of, but she the one person she asked about was Bo Dallas. Will we see Bo Dallas?
And you said no.
Oh, I said he's a raw guy, so it's possible, but we haven't seen him in months. We got 3 Bo Dallas segments last night.
Just for you, Brittany.
Just for Brittany, and because after the show ended, there was a dark match that was Miz and Ambrose. And
who went over?
Ambrose won to send the crowd home happy. It was a non-title match, obviously.
Okay.
But Ambrose won despite interference from two clowns dressed as bears.
So they were still dressed as bears at the end of the night?
Yes, which is so great.
Do you think they're always going to be bears?
We were talking about that too. I really hope so. I really hope that's the road they take. So a few interesting things about this was that so when the Miz's segment is getting set up, it was interesting in that the first time we saw the grandfather clock a few weeks ago, we didn't know what was in the box.
Right.
But when they're setting it up in the arena, the grandfather clock is exposed to everybody, and we knew that then the box got put on. So that wasn't very suspenseful for us who had seen live what it was.
Well, I always wonder what they do during commercial breaks, and not so much when they've got a setup like this, what they're setting up. But like when Finn Balor comes out and he interrupts Elias Sampson, who I thought was great last night, and Sampson goes back, and they're like, and coming up next, Finn Balor has a match, and Finn Balor's already come out, and then they cut the commercial.
We don't even know Finn Balor has a match. Like, that was news that you just said that right now. It was just confusing why he was out there to me.
Well, what does he do in those 4 minutes?
Well, I don't know when they went to break.
Okay, they went to break. The minute Elias Sampson walks to the back, they cut to Finn Balor, who's in the ring, and that's it. And they're like, and Finn Balor's going to stay out here because Finn Balor has action next. And so the minute you don't see Elias Sampson anymore, from that moment until I assume his opponent comes out, that's commercial break for us. What the hell does he do? What was he doing? Just popping his collar?
The long and short of it is yes. So here's what they do now. And I've been to many Raw tapings in my day. And way back when, my earliest would be January 2000. They would just usually like turn the Titantron off, or you'd see them go to like a whatever promo they're using to bounce to commercials, and then it will just kind of go dim. And then when they come back, usually there'll be something to, I think, like maybe the lights would change. I don't exactly remember how you knew they came back. Now it's interesting because they had that huge Titantron, but almost at no point in the night is it ever showing you the action in the ring. But when it goes to commercials, it never is doing nothing anymore. You're never watching nothing. They've got little things like, for example, maybe they'll show you a trailer for Finn Balor's 24 network special.
Sure. Or
they have a specially produced clip of WWE with military people, or WWE helping Make-A-Wish kids.
Well, did they do that this time? Because when it went to commercial, his music was playing and he was standing in the ring. And when they came back, his music was playing and he was standing in the ring.
There's always something playing to the live audience. And so when they're at commercials, unless there's a match going on, they won't show you those videos that I'm talking about. But when Finn's in the ring, they'll dim the lights in the ring, and you're watching the video screen. You're watching a commercial at home. We're watching a produced video package.
Since we're already talking about this, I'm curious. Did the end segment? And we'll talk about that later. But Corey Graves interjected and played a big part in that last segment.
Sure.
Did you understand why? Did you see Corey Graves and Kurt Angle had been working together all night, but it seemed like it was all backstage, and also there was a time where the interviewers are at the desk, and Corey Graves gets up and he's like, "I'm sorry, guys, you got to take it without me." Right in the middle of Michael Cole talking. They've done it a couple times.
Yeah.
There was a lot of that, and I didn't know if you saw that or would know that was happening, and then that would make you confused as to why Corey Graves got involved in that last bit.
No, well, I didn't know that he ever left the desk early.
He did.
Yeah, I don't think I remember. Or maybe they did show us that. I can tell you that whenever the action is at the commentary table, they put special lights up for to get a good shot. The lights come down when the focus is not on them. But for whatever segment that is at the desk, they've got special lights there to light that segment better. I don't recall whether or not I knew Corey Graves got up, but I'm still confused as to, like, what was he talking to Kurt Angle about? Did he just have inside information about the security footage?
Well, I don't know if this ties into that text messaging stuff. Because we've been getting text, but they've been doing that angle where Kurt Angle's been getting these disturbing text messages and Corey Graves getting the same messages.
Yeah.
They hinted at that and alluded to that again. I don't know if this ties into it or not. I find it interesting, and it was a little out of character, that Corey Graves would be the one to blow the whistle on Cass, since Corey Graves hates Enzo.
Yeah, I'm a little confused as to why that's a thing. Why Corey Graves, like, why didn't Angle just find the footage?
Well, it looks to me like they're definitely working a thing where Corey Graves and Angle are, like, that's a thing.
Yeah, I just want to know. I guess that's not done then. I hope it's not, because if it is, I feel like we crowbarred Corey Graves in.
No, I feel like they've got bigger plans for him in regards to Angle, but without seeing all of the little pieces last night with them working together on everything, that would have made very little sense to you, I thought. And I thought that when it was happening.
That could be. It's a little confusing, I suppose. Also, I have heard that in some roundabout way, this Corey Graves-Kurt Angle relationship is supposed to lead to a match between Triple H and Kurt Angle, probably at SummerSlam.
Okay.
Don't know if that's true or not. It's just a rumor that I've read. So that's what I got there for you. Also, I want to let you know we've talked about this before. The changing of the ropes for 405 or 205 Live. Boy, that's a sight to behold.
I bet that's fast and furious, isn't it?
Hey, Jerry, there's like, it might be almost 20 guys. They quickly jump the rail, and they've all got different parts that they play. One guy all night long. In fact, for a little while, he was sitting next to me when people next to me got up and left. His job is he holds 3 turnbuckle pads and affixes them to the turnbuckles. He just holds the pads all night long.
Why?
Because when the ring crew hits, these 20 guys, it's like a pit crew during a NASCAR race or something, and they go in there so quickly. And then you got some guys. Now, it seemed like there was long pieces of, like, the electrical tape that they would put over the bulk of the ropes, and then they were tying electrical tape around the ends of them as they'd hit the turnbuckle to kind of keep those affixed. But that made, I was confused as to what I was seeing, but they're essentially wrapping the ropes in electrical tape and changing turnbuckle
probably to give
pads.
them a little more footing. And
I'm not sure. So,
for me, I get why they do it. If they obviously have the capability to do it, and it flashes it up, and they think that it changes up the show a little bit, and it's a cool thing, I get it. But do you think it's a total waste of a resource?
Well, I just don't know that those purple ropes are doing anyone a favor, especially the cruiserweights.
No, it's separating them from the rest of the show, and it doesn't allow them to be, I think Neville at this point could be integrated into bigger stuff with people other than Rich Swann.
Yeah, but we can't when he only wrestles in purple ropes.
Exactly.
So, yeah, that's still a problem. Another thing that you might not have felt, because you weren't live, is that the show is really long. It's even longer when you're there in person, because they've got 2 matches before Raw starts for main event. And then you've got the 3-hour Raw, which went like almost 3:20 last night. They didn't, I know you weren't watching your clock, but we were at the 3:05 mark when Enzo and Cass came out. And I was like, oh boy, this is going to take a while. So it was a long show. And then after the show goes off the air, they give us Miz and Ambrose. And that wasn't short either. I told Brittany, because we were getting tired. She was like, you want to go? I was like, well, this match probably won't take very long. But no, it was a good 10, 15 minutes probably.
Does the crowd stay for that match?
There was nothing really. Like I was talking to Kat this morning on the air. She thought that was part of the show. I'm not sure everyone knew that was a dark match.
Okay.
I'll tell you this though, it wasn't necessary.
No, I would have known it was a dark match because it had no point to be there, and there was no way they weren't ending on Enzo and Cass. And I'm interested because there was so much that happened last night. There were so many good things. Braun Strowman returns. Roman Reigns and Joe was great. You had the Miz amping it up against Dean Ambrose. But without a doubt, you labeled the show today Cass attacks Enzo, right?
I did. Yeah.
That's the memorable. That in 5 years you're going to say
yes.
So we were at that Raw. That was the Evansville Raw. Enzo and Cass broke up.
Mm-hmm. Without a doubt.
Do you think it was too soon for it? I really think that they could have gotten a little more out of that team, and I don't see it doing either one of them that big a favor right now.
Yeah, but I guess honestly, Jer, if you truly believe that it won't do either one of them a favor, like you do and like I do, it's always too soon. You know what I mean? Absolutely.
And it's not like you're going to get a huge payoff from them having a match, because that's the one thing when a tag team breaks up, you get that automatic built-in blood feud, and that's awesome. And there's
which, by the way, please don't blow this at Great Balls of Fire. I want that for SummerSlam, please.
It's got to be SummerSlam. It's got to be. But does it have a payoff? Because everyone knows what's going to happen. We've seen their matches. We know what happens. Enzo's going to get murdered. Enzo gets murdered by Cass. That's what's going to happen.
That's okay though. When you go and watch a Thor movie, Thor's going to win. It's the way. It's
but will it even be competitive?
It's up to what story they're trying to tell.
You saw it coming. Were you like, oh God, no, please, no. It's like watching a train wreck.
Jared.
Like, not that it was bad, but like it broke my heart. Like I love them as a team, and I know today when I rewatch it with my son, he's got his certified G hat on when he watches Raw. He's gonna be devastated.
Well, I can tell you a few things. Number one is in an informal survey that I took myself, I saw by far more Enzo and Cass shirts in that building than any other piece of merchandise. Enzo did some media here in town, and I think that he's just so incredibly over. But Enzo is he's like a god here in Evansville. It was just huge. So when it became evident that the turn was happening, the crowd became distraught. I mean, it was like, I bet you could have found kids crying. The crowd was hushed. You could feel that gasp, the air leaving the arena. It was really, really well done in the building.
Well, in a way, that makes it perfect. Because that's what you want. You don't want to see it happening. And as a kid, that's got to suck. But it's nice to see that the WWE is booking on a intriguing storyline level and not, we need to sell more T-shirts level, because really they're probably going to hurt their T-shirt sales a lot with this move.
Well, I mean, if their goal is to create 2 stars, which is possible, if you can do that, you could sell theoretically twice as much merchandise.
They did it with we saw it with the Shield. They broke up the Shield and they created 3 megastars. Then they broke up the Wyatt family and they created 1 Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, that has yet to be seen. I don't think anyone has Enzo pegged to be on a championship level. I don't foresee him ever holding a world title, although I never foresaw Jinder Mahal holding one either. I think that they do have plans for Cass to get there, but I think that's going to be more difficult than they're expecting. Although he did a great job last night, if you want me to be totally honest. I'm a bit worried about him standing on his own as a character, as a personality, as a voice. But he did fine last night. True.
Here's where I think Cass blew it. If you want to pick anything, if I want to be nitpicky, I praised Samoa Joe when he dropped the microphone and got in Paul Heyman's ear. And that was a perfect moment for television and everything. The camera was close and it worked. Cass blew a perfect line because he didn't have a mic in his hand. And you couldn't really tell what he was doing on TV till it was too late, and you couldn't really hear him. When he stands over Enzo and he goes, and you can't teach that. He needed to be mic'd for that. The whole arena needed to hear him say, and you can't teach that, because that would have ended Raw with a chorus of boos. You thought Roman Reigns got booed. Cass would have gotten nuclear heat, but no one could hear him say it. And I think that was a missed opportunity.
Fair
if
enough.
I'm being picky.
The one thing that I was kind of regretting, like another bad thing about not having, there's no Titantron anymore. They've got a portion of that humongous screen that's now C-shaped. It's like a semicircle. They'll show video packages on it, but it never shows the live action. How was Enzo doing selling this? Not necessarily the beating, but like, were his facials on point? Did he look like heartbroken?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you just saw like these big blue eyes. He almost looked like a child.
Perfect.
That was just finding out terrible news.
Perfect.
I mean, it was really good. He was just in like such disbelief, and it wasn't to the point of like cheesy, I'm going to pretend to cry. He just was looking at him like, what are you talking about, bro? What do you mean? Like, what? And then bang, the boot, and boom, it's over. And Kurt Angle was selling it, because Kurt Angle's standing there like, what are you talking about? Like, Kurt Angle was in disbelief.
Yeah.
And the camera never shows the revival again, but they must have really done a good job of tucking tail and getting out of the ring.
They did. They got escorted out right behind us.
Oh, so they never even went up the ramp. They just ducked out, and that was it.
Correct. Yeah, they were escorted behind us with people. We could have, had I known that they were behind us, they moved very quietly and stealthily. I could have given them a high five. Steve said Enzo had a single tear.
I thought it was so good. I thought it was so well done, and it broke my heart. It broke my heart, and it was one of those things where you see it coming. You see it coming right when they want you to see it coming. You know, when they go to the footage and you see Cass backstage before you're like, I was like, here it is. Oh my God, they're doing the turn, and they're doing the turn in front of Rob. Rob's gonna see it. They're gonna, holy cow, Rob's gonna see Enzo and Cass break up. Holy smokes!
Yeah.
What a show you saw. I'm giving that an A Raw. I really do. And are you gonna go back and watch it? Will you watch it so you get the little intricacies?
I'll
today?
probably, it's going to sound old school, but I'm probably going to tape it. Any of the TV shows I'm on, I throw it on a videotape for whatever reason.
Absolutely. I saw no post-to-post signs, so disappointed.
I know at least one was made. And by the way, several people, and I'm being totally honest, they don't, a lot of times when we go out, hey, love the show, love the station, I love you and Cat in the Morning. And I love hearing that stuff. Last night, a lot of people love post to post, and not people like, there was a guy named John came up and just said, I want to tell you I love post to post. He doesn't do the post show. He doesn't interact. He just watches. And that's great.
He just watches and he enjoys it. Well, hi, John.
Yeah. And a bunch of people came up, and I was sitting next to Chris, who does participate on the post show. And we were high-fiving each other and talking about the show, and it was like we knew each other because we're on the post show.
I wish I'd been there. You know how I feel about big giants, and you know how I would have marked out over Braun Strowman.
I wish you were there too.
I'd have lost my mind.
I wish you were there too. We would have had a great time. It was a great show. I'll say on the modern day scale of, like, if you're talking about 2017, even 2016, yeah, I would give that an A. The three big things that stood out to me, I'll just say the Joe Reigns stuff was fantastic. We want to talk about the beginning. You had the Braun Strowman return. You had the Miz and all that fun stuff. And you had the big turn at the end. You had four really memorable things. And I do feel like that, like, I guess my big thing has always been, I was there when Rock and Hogan locked horns at WrestleMania 18, right behind it now. I feel like I was there when Cass put Enzo through the barbershop window.
Right. For me, it's the one without you. I was there for Hell in a Cell, but the other one,
yeah, that's
we
awesome.
saw Batista. We saw Batista get ready for WrestleMania, and Evolution turned on him.
Yeah, we saw Batista turn on Evolution, put Triple H through a table during a contract signing.
We saw the first ever draft.
I was gonna say I was not in the building for that actually.
Oh, I was there.
Yeah, you were there. I was living in Altoona and didn't have any friends in State College, and
we saw Chris Masters debut.
We sure did.
What did you think about the Seth Rollins stuff? One more thing. I thought it was a Seth Rollins promo. It was a Bray Wyatt promo.
I don't care about magazine covers. I don't care about video game covers. That's to just stroke themselves.
I liked what they did though. And could you tell that Seth Rollins bled the hard way?
I didn't even know he bled, to be honest with you, Jared.
Oh boy, did he ever? Well, you saw it before I saw it, because they don't, TV sees it when they want you to see it. Bray Wyatt's walking down, and all of a sudden the lights come up, and Seth Rollins is up on the turnbuckle already, and he leaps. They cracked heads, and he got cut right here. It was the weirdest cut. It was like a slice against his cheekbone, and he was just bleeding, and it was like, whoo, that looks like that hurts. But
no, I didn't even pick up on that, to be honest.
I liked that move. I liked just jumping off the turnbuckle and slamming into Wyatt.
Yeah, no, that was fun to watch. That was the turnbuckle closest to me, and I was watching Bray, and then people near me start pointing up in the sky, and I look over, and he's just mid-flight. It was cool. It was a fun show.
Yeah, so you were in a different place than I thought you were. Then I'm gonna have to go looking.
Yeah, we're to the right of the ramp. I'll see if I can find us on there. I'll look later tonight. I feel like the best chance we had would be during the Reigns Joe match, specifically like the first time they left the ring and started brawling outside. Maybe it wasn't the first time. Now I feel weird saying it. I feel like it was though. But yeah, they kind of go right of the stage, and I feel like that might be our best shot. But I'll see what I can dig up. Awesome.
Well, I'm glad you had an absolute blast. It sounds like the Post to Post universe had a blast, and
yeah.
And now attendance-wise and everything, the WWE rewards good attendance. Do you think they'll bring Raw back? Did you guys support it the way that it needed to be supported as a community?
According to Kat Michaels, she has never seen the Ford Center more full, and I'm not sure I can disagree with that.
Wow.
And my question was, to me in the building, it felt like the crowd was electric. Did you get a good vibe from the crowd? Like, did it, especially during the Reigns match, did you feel like we were on?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The only thing that I got, I was a little nervous about the crowd was at the end, but because there wasn't like this loud, crazy booing going on, but I think it's because everybody was just stunned into silence.
We had heartbreak as our primary emotion, not anger. That's what it was. So.
Yeah, that's crazy. Boy, Cass is coming out to nuclear heat on Monday night. Do you start the show Monday night with Cass now? I think you do.
I guess maybe. I don't know.
He'll get his own theme music though, won't he?
I don't know. I mean, I guess so. I would think Enzo retains everything else in this divorce.
He gets the kids. Yeah. He gets the house.
Man, it's always great talking to you. Thanks for your help today. I'm going to try to watch SmackDown tonight, but we'll shoot for whenever. I mean, if we both have it watched, we can do an episode tomorrow. We can make that our last episode this week. Or
yeah, that sounds good. I like doing the Wednesday ones. I think I'll have time to do it for sure.
I'm excited for SmackDown. I mean, I know that people... let's see. They disagreed with me and sided more with you on the rating of the pay-per-view on Sunday, at least on the post show. We didn't get a whole lot of feedback on yesterday's episode, but they all seem to agree with you. I just want to remind
I don't know. They did and they didn't. I mean, one person agreed with me and said why he agreed with me on every single point, and then he gave it the same grade you gave it. And I was like, okay. So.
Well, and then, I'm trying to think of, I wanted to say, I also want to remind everyone one more time, I didn't give the show an A+.
Oh, I don't think anybody thinks you did.
I gave it a C+. And I personally think it was the best B show this year. And a C+ isn't anything that, like, you don't go home boasting about a C+ on your report card, you know?
Yeah, not to get too into it, but I thought Backlash was. But here we are, just agreeing to disagree.
That's fine. That's what I like about this show. So, all right, everybody. Thanks. By the way, the Post Universe was out there in big form. Sorry to hear Steve didn't make it. I hope everything's cool. We'll be back with another episode later on this week. For myself, the Rob. Oh, you know what? I can play the theme music. Give me 1 second. Hold on. Now that I can play with it again, I feel good.
We have theme music now, and you can't teach that.
That was smooth, Jer. You kind of like hit a post.
Oh, yeah, I knew I was going to.
Wrestling fans probably think hitting a post means running someone into a turnbuckle.
I hit the post to post. And I'm not going to swear at the end of this podcast like yesterday.
Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you later this week.